What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, Peter Fury, trainer of Olympic gold medalist, female world champion, British superstar, Savannah Marshall. Savannah Marshall is 12 wins, no losses, no draw, 10 wins by way of knockout. She's 5'11" and a half with a 71-inch arm reach. She's going into the biggest fight of her career against two-time Olympic gold medalist, undefeated 3-division world champion, undisputed in 2 separate weight classes, the first female or male boxer to become undisputed in 2 separate weight classes, and a 3-division world champion faster than any male or female in the history of the sport of boxing. She simultaneously held the undisputed titles at one time altogether. And she's going into another massive undisputed match at 160, where she was already undisputed against Savannah Marshall, the biggest fight of her career. Both of their careers, right? Savannah Marshall, the storyline is big because Savannah Marshall has beaten Claressa Shields when Claressa Shields was 17 years of age, 10 years ago. Savannah Marshall is 31, Claressa Shields is 27, okay? And this makes for the biggest fight in female boxing as it stands. But this is the second time Claressa Shields has been in a fight of this magnitude. She was in a massive fight with Christina Hammer, okay, when she defeated Christina Hammer. So this is not the first time she's in this position. It's the first time Savannah Marshall has been in this position. Now, Claressa Shields had made some comments recently when she stated that, you know, Savannah Marshall wants to be her. She wants the belt. She wants to be like her. She wants to have the accomplishments that she has. And she made the comment that Savannah Marshall wants to be black, right? And that's what stuck. Everybody started to talk about that. And so Peter Fury, who is, you know, relative to undefeated 2-time heavyweight world champion, British superstar boxer, who's currently the WBC reigning heavyweight champion, Tyson the Gypsy King Fury, you know, so we know who Peter Fury is, right? And so he trains Savannah Marshall. Savannah Marshall has traits of the Fury fighting style, at least Tyson Fury's fighting style, who's extremely tall, 6'9" with an 85-inch arm reach, herky-jerky style, very rangy, and as of late have been showing power, right? And so with that said, the comments made, you know, Peter Fury, he goes in, right? He says that, you know, Savannah Marshall can never be black, because she's always going to be white, which is obvious. So I don't know about that, is what he said. And then he stated that obviously she wants all the belts, that's why they're fighting. And yes, she acknowledges the accomplishments. Then he says that Claressa Shields could never be considered the GOAT. That's all nonsense, because Claressa Shields can only beat Savannah Marshall and be the best version of this era. So she can never be the greatest woman of all time. That's all nonsense, is what he stated. And then he stated that, you know, Lucia Riker, who finished her career 17 wins, no loss, no draw, 14 wins by way of knockout, is, you know, you could consider her the greatest female boxer of all time. Okay. Then he also stated that, you know, you have Layla Ali, you know, he stated that Layla Ali, you know, would be considered better than Claressa Shields, you know, but the fact remains is that, you know, Claressa Shields don't fight in their era. Layla Ali finished her career 24 wins, no losses, no draw, 21 wins by way of knockout. She was 5'10" with a 70-inch arm reach. So said Layla Ali, Lucia Riker, they would be considered the greatest females of all time, but nonetheless, they can't even be considered the greatest, because you can only fight who's in your era, right? So who you have available to fight in your era, you know, you can be the best in your era. I agree with that, you know. But what Claressa Shields was getting at is, you know, the level of, you know, of discredit that she gets. She's an underdog in this fight with Savannah Marshall, and it's unexplainable outside of the fact that the fight is taking place in the UK and Claressa Shields is traveling overseas. That's the only reason that you have to consider Claressa Shields an underdog in this fight. Other than that, you talk about level of opponents. Now, Savannah Marshall, 12 wins, no loss, no draw, 10 wins by way of knockout. But look at the level of opponents. Claressa Shields has by far fought the better level of opposition. By far, it's not even close. Okay, Claressa Shields clearly has fought the better level of opposition, and it's not even close, right? In Savannah Marshall's 5th fight as a professional, she fought a boxer who was 3 wins, 25 losses, and a draw. Claressa Shields in her 5th fight as a professional fought Torrey Hunter, who is a superstar in the sport of women's boxing. In her 5th fight, her 1st fight as a professional, she fought Franchon Cruz Lazone, who's an undisputed champion right now. She fought Hannah Rankins and Hannah Gabriels. She fought Christina Hammer. She fought Ibazin. So she fought clearly better level of opposition. And the old saying in the sport of boxing is that the higher level of opposition you fight, the tougher it is to get knockouts. So if you fighting fighters that have 3 wins and 25 losses, well, you should get a knockout against them if you are what everybody says you are. Claressa Shields came out the gate fighting the absolute best there is to offer in Franchon Cruz Lazone, who's top 5 best female pound-for-pound fighters. So how do you justify Claressa Shields being an underdog outside of just traveling overseas? And then that begs the question, when you get in a square circle and you have 3 judges, it should all be judged equally across the board. And clearly it's not. Because it looks like, Claressa Shields, who lost to Savannah Marshall 10 years ago when she was 17 and Savannah Marshall was 21, if you used to confine those videos of her and Savannah Marshall fighting, you can clearly see Claressa Shields outpointed Savannah Marshall, didn't get the nod. Okay, she just didn't get the nod, but she won the fight. You can clearly see it. But suddenly it's not on YouTube no more. You can't find it. It has been taken down. It's like it's been erased. And that was 10 years ago when Claressa Shields was 17 and Savannah Marshall was 21. Now, I will give Peter Fury this, right? Is that he did acknowledge and admit that it's a 50-50 fight, and it's the biggest fight, it's the biggest fight in the sport of boxing as far as female boxers go. And yes, he's 1000% correct, right? But I just say that, it's amazing. Claressa Shields is simply expressing herself as being discredited and disrespected because Savannah Marshall is considered on her level simply because she beat her 10 years ago in the amateurs. And she didn't really beat her. If you look at the fight, they just didn't give Claressa Shields the nod. If Claressa Shields would have won the fight and the nod would have went the direction that it should have, would we even be talking about Savannah Marshall today as a viable opponent for Claressa Shields? No, I don't believe that Savannah Marshall is better than Christina Hammer. Christina Hammer was more accomplished and fought better level opposition, in my opinion. I thought Christina Hammer was a far more suitable opponent as far as star status go and level of fight than Savannah Marshall. Savannah Marshall is her height, and everybody consider her to be a big puncher. But again, like I said, you look at the level of opposition. She should have gotten those knockouts that she got. They have the same amount of fights. They both have 12 fights. Claressa Shields only has 2 knockouts. So, but she's a technician. She's a pure boxer. She's skilled. And she does have respectable power. Right? But Claressa Shields ain't fighting the level of opposition Savannah Marshall's fighting. So then she not getting knockouts because the higher the level of opposition, the harder it is to get knockouts. So as far as her being black and saying that, she wish she was, she wants to be black, and he says, she's always going to be white. I don't know about that. Well, we understand that. But I also understand what Claressa Shields was getting at. Right? The rhythmic and perpetual motion that the late, great, legendary Kurt Anderson, historian, my brother, my co-host, would say. The rhythmic and perpetual motion. A lot of fighters try to adopt that style, but don't have the natural athletic gifts to be able to fulfill it. And that's what Claressa Shields is getting at. So he says that, you know, he used choice words to describe it, but I got Claressa Shields winning unanimous decision in this fight. And I think that she's being overlooked. Her skill set is being overlooked. And Savannah Marshall, herky-jerky style in the beginning is going to give Claressa Shields problems. Her height, her herky-jerky style, her movement. But eventually, Claressa Shields is going to figure her out. Her ring IQ, her ring generalship, skill set is going to take over, and she's going to beat Savannah Marshall. And I can't wait to see how it unfolds and plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.